Life is a casino. We don't sink, we just hit them off with C-notes. And you can bet it all. I'ma be the last one standing tall. Joey Merlino.
What's up, DG?
Life is a casino. We don't sink, we just hit them off with C-notes. And you can bet it all. I'ma be the last one standing tall. Joey Merlino.
With Joey Merlino.
Welcome back to episode 61, The Skinny, with Joey Merlino and Lil Snuff. Today we have a legendary guest on the podcast, Mr. Roger Stone. How you doing?
Excellent. Great to be here.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming, my brother.
So I wanted to get into some topics because the election is right around the corner. And before we get into that, I think we should start when you were growing up. Where did you grow up at, for people who don't know, and how did you get involved in the politics?
All right. It's an excellent question. First of all, people need to understand that Stone is a name plucked out of thin air by a clerk at Ellis Island who was probably some Irish prick. So my real family name is Corbo.
Okay.
My people are from Sicily. We're from the town of Corvo. It kind of gets bastardized, but I'm half Italian and half Hungarian. Specifically, I'm Italian from the waist down.
Right.
And I grew up in a blue-collar household. My parents weren't political. My father was the hardest working man I ever knew. He was a well digger. I mean, he and my uncle and my grandfather ran a chop drill, drilling artesian wells in the greater New York, Connecticut, New Jersey area. My dad would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. My mother would make him breakfast. He would go to work. He would come home at 5, completely caked in mud, just completely covered in mud. She would hose him down in the backyard. She would feed him dinner, and he would go to bed. And he'd wake up the next day and do the same thing. He did it 6 days a week, and I never, ever heard him complain.
Yeah.
Sundays we went to church. My mother was a great cook. But I lived in a rural area in Connecticut where there were no kids, my age for, 25 miles away. So that means there are no team sports. You can't play football, you can't play baseball, you can't play basketball. I never did develop any eye-hand coordination. So you have to amuse yourself.
Yeah.
So I started long-distance running. I started lifting weights. And I started reading. I just started voraciously reading everything I could lay my hands on. I liked history. I liked biography. I liked, I wasn't too big on fiction. I didn't read a lot of fiction. And then the woman who lived next door to us, who was very active in the Republican Party, gave me a book called The Conscience of a Conservative by Barry Goldwater. It was a paperback, and I read this book, and it transformed my life because he was for individual personal freedom. He wanted government out of your life, out of your bedroom, out of the boardroom, out of your business.
This is Lil Snuff from this Skinny Joey Merlino podcast, and today I'm live at Cartopia 46, right in the middle of North Jersey. If you're looking for a used vehicle, there's nowhere else to look but right here. If you're looking for a Highline vehicle, there's no place other to look than Cartopia 46. From interest rates as low as 5.99%. Yes, I said it, 5.99% to qualified buyers. Here at Cartopia 46, right in the heart of North Jersey, on top of the low interest rates, on top of the bumper-to-bumper warranty. If you come here and mention this Skinny podcast setting, you're going to get an additional $1,000 more for your trade and an additional savings of $1,000 off any sticker price. And guess what they don't do here at Cartopia 46? They don't sell them for more. They sell them for less. When you're thinking about buying a luxury used car, the first thing that comes to mind, do we have a warranty? Well, here at Cartopia 46, if you get a 2-year warranty, we're going to give you 2 years on top. And that's 2 years, 24,000 miles of bumper-to-bumper warranty. Where else are you going to get that? Only at Cartopia 46. And make sure you mention the Skinny Podcast sent you. At Cartopia 46, we are a KBB Buying Center. What else could you ask for? Fast money right into your hands. If you're looking for your check, same day, look no further. Cartopia 46 is even giving you an extra $1,000 more than KBB. If you can't make it to Cartopia 46, don't forget, we have a sister store in North Plainfield, New Jersey, Cartopia 22, and they don't sell them for more. They sell them for less.
He wanted a strong national defense, but he wanted it as a deterrent. In other words, you don't go around the world looking for wars to get into. You're so strong that nobody screws with you.
Yeah.
Peace through strength. The Eisenhower philosophy, the Goldwater philosophy, the Reagan philosophy, the Trump philosophy. So I knew immediately that this is what I wanted to do. Before that, I wanted to be an actor. Of course, my parents were like, well, no, you need to be a plumber or an electrician or a sheet wall guy or those guys make great money. But then I found out that politics was show business for ugly people. And that's how I got started.
That's how you got started,
About
just
that?
like that. Maybe
A
I
book.
should have did that.
You should
Live
have did
far
it.
away so I
Yeah.
could read a little
You
more.
can't read.
It's a little hard.
Yeah, you can't read.
When you're younger and you started reading that book, and now you feel like that you're involved in politics. Grade school, high school, you started reading more, and I'm sure you started getting more involved in the community when it comes to the Republican Party, like you said.
Right. So as soon as I decide this is what I want to do, I volunteer for the local Republican Party. I ride my bicycle to the headquarters every day after school. I have a Goldwater sticker on my bicycle. I'm wearing a button to work. I wore the button 3 weeks after the election was over. I refused to concede. And it was in that period after Goldwater lost that I began to read about the 1960 election. This was 1964. I started to read about the 1960 election. And I decided, based on everything I read, that Nixon had actually won, that he'd been robbed.
Okay.
So, and I knew he was practicing law in New York City. He was kind of in exile at that point. So I wrote him a letter, and I said, look, I think you got screwed. I think they stole it from you. I think you should get back in and run again. And I got a really nice letter back, which I still have, in which he said, thank you very much. I think I'm finished. I don't really have any plans, but of course he did. And if I do decide to run again, I'll be in touch.
Wow.
And then 2 years later, these are the days when the phone was on the wall in your house, right?
Yeah.
My mother comes in and says, there's a man on the phone for you, John Whitaker, says he works for former Vice President Nixon, and he'd like to talk to you. You want to talk to him? I said, sure. So I talked to him, and he said, we have your letter on file. That shows you how organized they were.
Yeah.
And he's still interested in, we're getting the campaign together. The former vice president's launching a comeback campaign. Are you still interested? And I said, sure. And they said, well, can you come in to New York City, which is where they were operating out of, for an interview? And I said, yes. So I took the train in. And then when I showed up, they figured out I was 16 years old.
We would like to thank you for watching. Head on over to Patreon for the full episode.